poor Tito. I mean, there are times where Tito is trying to be a nice guy. It just doesn't exist. He just can't do it. He just got an inability. He is a narcissist to the highest of levels, and he's a terrible communicator to the highest of levels. So when you combine those two, you really have a thing of magic. Okay, this was great. First off, Tito's doing his post-fight speech, and he's thanking everyone in the world, right? He does not know at this point, part of his narcissism, combined with he's just generally not very intelligent. He does not know nobody's watching. He thinks he is performing this in 1 million plus households, okay? He does not understand by any level of metrics that the people that are there live were given tickets and nobody bought this show. So he's cutting this interview, this heroic moment, this winner's moment interview. I mean, Jiminy Christmas, it took him 5 minutes and he wasn't in there in a fight. It took him 4 minutes before he realized, I'm not fighting anybody. There's nobody in here. There's just a guy over here. I just need to go touch him one time and we can all go home. And it still took him over 4 minutes to touch him. But he doesn't have the self-awareness to do this, and it's so genuine, which is what makes his interview so wonderful. Just this wonderful disaster to watch. So he's doing his interview, and he just wants Chuck to know. He just wants Chuck to know this is the best Tito Ortiz that the world has seen in 21 years. Now, there was a part of Tito within that message that was trying to say, hey, Chuck, don't be hard on yourself. This isn't a rebuke on you. This is a narrative that I am that good. He meant it to be nice. As hard, as arrogant as that sound, that was actually what his message was. But what he effectively did without communicating that well was he also went ahead and covered the 2 losses that he had to Chuck. He went ahead and kind of tried to wipe away those losses without accepting any responsibility to the fact that he took on a guy who barely got a license and hadn't done it in 8 years, and back to that 8-year date was forced out of the sport. He didn't take any kind of consideration into that. So then they go to interview Chuck, who not for nothing really is a very nice guy. I mean, in victory or in defeat, what you see is what you get. He's a very straight and genuine guy. He's just been humiliated. He just lost to the worst fighter in the sport. A guy who he openly said ahead of time is the worst fighter in the sport, and if I can't beat him, I don't even belong in this sport. And he's trying to say his piece like a gentleman when all he wants to do is get to the back, hang his head, and pretend this didn't go into denial for about the next hour before he gets in a shower and goes on about his day. That's just how this works. Tito cuts into the interview. Okay, this is Chuck's moment, and it's Chuck's moment largely because, and even in defeat, this will be his last moment in front of an audience with a microphone. This will be his last moment. In many ways, the likelihood of that is very realistic. Tito interrupts him. Couldn't give him his moment. Interrupts him and then says, I'm very respectful, and then wants to make his point. Wants to make his point because he's respectful. Okay, you just interrupted a guy, for one. You just interrupted a guy who's humiliated because he lost to you. So to then declare that you're respectful after butting into his last 15 minutes of fame that he's going to get in his lifetime in this industry that he did help create, not for nothing, Tito somehow offered him a job. Somewhere in there, Tito said, hey, Chuck, I know you're saying and you're thinking about retiring. You just have to understand this was the best Tito ever, and we would love for you to compete at Golden Boy for as long as you'd like to. We have a home for you. So we're all sitting around, turning our head to the left, turning our head to the right, going, wait a minute, did Tito just claim that he owned Golden Boy? Like Tito's in a position to be offering jobs to anybody? Yes, he did. That is what Tito did. And that was the highlight of the night in so many ways. And Tito has come out this week and he's saying, hey, man, I don't feel like I'm getting the credit that I deserved. I feel everybody's kicking Chuck, but nobody's telling me good job. Well, that's a real thing. That is a real thing where as a fighter, when you're out there and you're just looking for that pat on the back, which is largely all you get. And I know the viewer will think, well, he got a paycheck and he got some esteem. I get that comes with it, but for the most part, fighters just want to be told good job. They're just like little kids. They're like little kids that go to soccer practice and do their best to get that ball into the goal so that somebody will tell them good job. That's a real thing. So when Tito was coming out going, man, nobody's doing that. They're all burying Chuck. That, again, was just part of a narcissistic's lack of awareness. It's like, Tito, I don't know where to tell you good job. You did overcome a mental battle, and you did get over on a guy who humiliated you younger in your career. That's true, and you should get, and he should get some credit for that. Tito did not know, the same as we did not know, that Chuck wasn't going to fight that night. We did not know that Chuck could not make a fist, throw it in a forward direction, and touch the target in front of him. We simply didn't know that. We had created illusions of grandeur in our minds. So Tito does get credit because he was in the same spot. He didn't know that. He does not get credit for the fact that for 4 minutes fighting nothing, was able to do nothing. He was able to secure no major shots, no takedown, no submission attempts, no clinch, no ground, nothing. He was able to do nothing for 4 minutes fighting nobody.